Mirasee.
Hey there, I'm Chantal, and you're listening to Making It. I help coaches and consultants enroll clients on a consistent basis by empowering their prospects throughout the sales process. For my dad, confidence was a very big lesson that he taught me. Everything was about confidence. If you can believe it, you can do it. And when you start to doubt yourself is when things start to go sideways. And I've been retaught that lesson over and over again throughout my life. Most of the time when I've had a failure or, fallen flat on my face, it's been because I second guessed myself or reacted out of fear or didn't go as hard as I needed to in order to accomplish my goal. Part of my upbringing, for a long time, we did wildlife rehabilitation. And I, from a young age, wanted to be a veterinarian. So we took care of squirrels, raccoons, owls, hawks, in the Maine woods, you name it. We, at some point, had it come through our house. And so my degree is actually in pre-veterinary medicine. And I got my butt kicked by organic chemistry and also shadowed a few surgeries and decided that really wasn't for me. So I started turning my attention to starting a business in the animal niche, but ended up getting taken off course when I was introduced to coaching, and decided to pursue that instead. But yes, one of my earlier businesses was hand raising parrots. So when I was in college, I had a breeder that I would purchase parrots that were just a couple days old, and my mom and I would hand raise them and find new homes for them, and that was a really fun business. We had cockatoos, African greys, macaws, and they were a lot of fun. Then, right out of college, during grad school, I did home parties. So I was in direct sales. So I would do demonstrations of a product and sell it. And that is where I was introduced to coaching because I went to one of their conferences where they had Marsha Weeder, the dream coach. She was speaking. And what it did was, her speaking, it was so inspirational. It just made me remember when I was a kid and like anything was possible. And I'd never really lost that spark, but it helped me realize that a lot of people, or actually most people, really do lose that spark and they feel like they are a victim of circumstances. They can't really create what they wanted. And when I had that realization, I decided that I needed to help them achieve their dreams. I was in my mid-20s. I was single. And at that point, having a business was really all about achievement. I didn't have a lot of debt or bills that needed to be paid. So just the fact that I was able to, at that point, pay for my wedding with my business felt really good. I felt like I had made it. Things shifted very quickly after I began to have children. And that achievement focus becomes less so. And I felt like I was failing constantly because now I had other priorities that weren't quite as easy as setting a list of tasks for yourself. So I would say that, where I really made it was actually in the last few years, where I found the balance between business and having a family. And the pandemic really shifted the way I was running my business. And now I feel more comfortable and confident than I ever have. And so I think there's the points along the way that you feel like you've made it. And then you find that once you've reached that point, there's always something next. And it's not necessarily something bigger. When I wrote on my website that sometimes people call me crazy or brave, what I was thinking of when I wrote that was back when I launched the Land of Brand. So back in, I think it was 2011, I was doing website design. I had a business partner and I called him up and I said, I have this crazy idea. I need to run it by you just to see if it's viable or not. And I had this idea to create an entire program based on the game Candyland. It was my favorite game as a kid, and I just love the visuals, but it was so childish and kind of silly that one, I wasn't sure if we would be able to pull it off in a professional way, and two, that people would actually take me seriously if we did it. So anyway, in that conversation, he's like, yeah, this is absolutely crazy, but he's like, I'm totally in. And we ended up launching the Land of Brand, which I had for 7 years. And it was a great success. It really helped me build a name for myself in the coaching industry. it set me apart from a lot of other people that are doing similar things. There are some people, you can go on a computer and you just know how to use it. Like you can go into a piece of software, you can find where everything is and you do it on your own. And then someone else could come and look at the same exact piece of software and have no idea what they're looking at, need to read a manual in order to do the simplest things. And it's because it's not natural to them. It's not intuitive for them. But on the other hand, that same person could go into a kitchen and whip up a meal with everything in the cabinets without ever looking at a recipe book, because they understand the materials they're working with and they know how they go together, and they just intuitively can bring together a meal. And the person that was really good with the piece of software can't even boil water. So there's different gifts that you have and different abilities that are natural to you. That's the way I look at your intuitive abilities. Once you kind of recognize those gifts that you have, you can utilize them in a lot of different areas of your business and your life. And the more you tap into them and recognize what they are, the more they'll help you out in other areas as well. Because sometimes there's parallels you can draw between different things that you're doing. And when you relate it to something that you're really confident and familiar with, that the other thing that you might be unfamiliar with and trying out for the first time actually feels easier. Making it to me means, so like the definition has changed throughout the stages of life that I've been through in the last 10 years. So making it now means that it's not just a financial success, but having the feeling of peace and the feeling of balance in my life, and being able to enjoy all aspects of life. So not feeling like I need to have my nose to the grindstone in my business in order to feel like what I'm doing is worth it. And being able to take my kids to Disneyland, and we go camping every weekend in the summer, and having those special times and knowing that my business is still there and running itself, and just having that freedom that we all search for. That's, to me, having made it. Like having that freedom in those different aspects of your life and finding that balance is definitely where I feel like I've accomplished what I've set out to. That time as a new mother is such just a identity shifting time. And it also put a lot of strain on me personally, but I completely had to change how I was running my business. And I was not expecting the sheer level of difference that was going to happen. And I fought it for a good 4 or 5 years. So this wasn't a small shift. It took a long time to figure out what I needed to let go of and that kind of thing. I feel like I needed to go through that struggle in order to get to where I am now. And I'm very happy with where I am now. So it's one of those catch-22s where it's like, would I do anything differently? In hindsight, yes, I think I could have made things easier on myself. But on the other hand, would I have ended up where I am now if I had done things differently? And I don't know. I'm Holly Chantal, and you've been listening to Making It. And you can find me at hollychantal.com. That's HOLLYCHANTAL.com.
Making It is part of the Mirasee FM network, which also includes Course Lab and Just Between Coaches. This episode of Making It was assembled by Jeff Govertson. Cynthia Lamb produced the episode, and Danny Eny, that's me, is our executive producer. So you don't miss the great episodes that are coming up on Making It, go ahead and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening right now. And if you like the show, please leave us a starred review. It's the best way to help us get these ideas to more people. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.